What's up, man? How you doing?
Good, thank you. I appreciate you taking this interview at this time of the night. I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, anytime, man. I got time. I might as well spend it somewhere, man. To be honest with you, uh, if you think about it, time is the only real currency of life. Did you
Absolutely.
think of that? Like you can always make and lose more money. You cannot gain and ungain time. Once it's spent, it's gone. It's no, you don't get it back.
100%, man. I couldn't agree more. Normally, I don't have someone talk about that when I do my interviews, so I do appreciate that. Spilling a little bit of knowledge there and facts of life.
Just
So,
gotta drop a couple knowledge bombs. I throw big bombs, as you may have already known. And I don't know if you've heard any of my interviews before, but it just blew my mind. It shows due diligence as a dying art when they say that I'm a jujitsu guy because I have 4 wins by submission. What they didn't tell you is that I knocked every one of them down first. So
absolutely. But I gotta ask. So, how have you been? How have you been feeling since your last win at Bellator?
feel good, man. I've been back in the gym, just getting ready for the next one. Still ain't heard when or what that may be, but I'm just trying to stay ready for anything, man.
Awesome. Now I recognize the accent, so I assume looking you up, like you're from the Tennessee area. Um, what's like?
I am Let me
Sorry,
clear that up. I am from North Mississippi,
North.
about 2 hours, hour and a half south of Tennessee, from Memphis.
Oh, okay, yeah, but you're still kind of in the southern states, obviously.
Right, 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 right.
So, like, what's the weather kind of like at the moment over there?
Say it again.
Like, what's the weather kind of like over there at the moment?
Right now, you know what? We can do a live weather analysis right now. I'm pretty sure it was really nice, what we call porch weather. It's a little warm for porch weather, but it's still really nice. Not too hot, not too cold. It's kind of humid right now, but
Okay.
it's always humid in the South. But I promise you that. Where are you from?
Oh, I'm actually from Ontario, Canada. So
Yeah, a little
normally,
different.
I was just gonna say, normally at this time it starts to get kind of chilly, but we've had a really crazy year. So um, we've just had the craziest weather, and right now it's like 22 during the day and probably 17, 18 Celsius. So whatever that is in Fahrenheit for the Americans over
It's
there.
chilly. It's gonna be like in the 30s and 40s, I guess, huh?
Hmm. You know, looking at yourself, like, um, if someone were to travel down to your area, when would be the best time of the year to go?
The Mississippi, you would either want to go right now or you would want to come in the springtime. The summertime, it's really pretty, but it's really hot. And there's not a lot to do in our state, man. If I ever did public office, I would try to push for more, I don't know, like developmental stuff. Like the kids need stuff to do that's not like in my area. The only thing that you can go do for fun other than work out and go to work at your job is what they think is to go do drugs or something, pretty close to that ballpark. And I just think you see it all the time with the same results and it's never any different and people still don't learn their lesson. It blows my mind.
Yeah, and that's why like a lot of fighters I've talked to, they talk about getting kids into like fighting early because um, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that they learn those things because it's learning self-respect and it gives them something to do and something to work towards for. If we look back in the day in the early years of MMA, a lot of fighters would be known to be just brawlers, guys that don't want anything to do with their life. They're just a bunch of they're just a bunch of guys that just want to fight, and that's just not the
Hey,
case.
we still have a lot of that here, and they don't get a fair shake. Now, there's some good gyms that take people like that in and will work with them.
Yeah.
And I'm more of that same speed too, but nobody wants to pay the gym membership. And I've never been a gym owner. I've always worked at one, but so it's never been about the money for me. If they're talented, I'll let them train. And if they're a good training partner, I'll let them train, bring them in. You never know what could happen with some of these guys, man. They could turn out to be the next Bones Jones, not in the personal life, hopefully, but I've seen a lot of really talented people come from. There's a place about an hour north of here or northwest of here called the Brawlers Den in Senatobia, and they're one of those gyms, man. That they anybody that wants to compete, they take them in, let them try it out. They got plenty of mat enforcers over there, and it's funny. Like the guys from my gym fight their guys and stuff, and we're just all buddies. It's weird, but I guess it's not weird, but it's something else. But I have like a tremendous deal of respect for like every single one of them because they all come from like a rough background, most of them. And if they weren't doing this or they weren't at the gym every night, they work super hard. If they weren't doing that, there's no telling what they'd be. Some of them would be doing.
100%. No, I gotta say, Big Tuna, how did you get that nickname in the first place?
I have uh, a boxing coach from Boston, and he just started calling me that. His name's Mark Romano. He's a chiropractor, and he's my chiropractor too. And he's big into mob culture, and he pulled it from that. I have no idea why. I guess because I'm big and white, and I ate tuna a lot. There's a hundred reasons why he could have come up with it. I don't know. I'm gonna ask him so I have a concrete answer as to why. I still don't know, but
Well,
it comes from a gangster.
and I hear something about you saying something about your father. I know you didn't touch much upon it. What is that? Is there truth to that? Was that just where you?
Yes, yes, there is, and I don't really. I talked about it in another interview because I keep getting asked about it a lot. He passed away in 2019, right before I fought for my first pro title, and I try not to. Everybody likes mob movies and all that stuff, but like at the end of the day, nobody's really doing mob stuff, and I wouldn't recommend them to because like I don't want to see anybody live that lifestyle. I try not to glamorize it or anything, but you see like a lot of like rappers and stuff now, and just celebrities in general want you to break the law to think it's cool, or it ain't even so much as breaking the law. It's just any of these things could get you killed. You could even now, like I said before, like these guys that just want to do drugs for fun. I had 3 people that I know personally this year, just this year, they were buying some kind of drug that they did and they bought something fake and it killed them. And it happens all the time now. So my message to anybody, stay out of the mob, stay out of gangs, roll on your own too, give respect, earn respect, do everything the right way, do your best, be humble, let everything fall into place. Don't get mixed up in any extra life expectancy changes. You know what I mean? Like your life is a gift and you need to make the most out of it. Don't go to selling drugs, doing drugs, or anything like that.
You said it all, man. No, in another recent interview, you talked about you still being the Summit light heavyweight champ. So did you plan on returning to that promotion, or did you get it one fight with Bellator?
No, no, that's just I said that because I still have the belt, right? Like the physical,
Oh,
I have physically have the belt still. They would have to come get it or make a new one. So like it's vacated, but at the same time, it's not because everybody knows like that's basically in my hometown that promotion runs out of. So if they come anywhere in Mississippi, if they were to have that fight, it would just be like, well, Ben's really the best light heavyweight from Mississippi of all time, which is true. Um, so Maybe Alan Belcher. Alan Belcher's pretty good too, but he's fought at 85 most of the time. But I'd kick his ass now. So
Fair enough. So, like, how many fights do you have with Bellator at the moment with your contract?
0.
Okay, so it's just one fight
Yeah.
contract.
Well, I don't know exactly. I signed a different kind of agreement, but I'm waiting to hear back. I mean, I ain't heard from them, so I don't know. They're under the impression that I can't fight the rest of the year. Scott Coker said that because I said it in my interview because I don't have vacation time. But I can make it happen, you know. So I'm just waiting. I'll stay in shape, man. I ain't got nothing better to do. Like I said before, if I ain't chilling with my daughter or I'm at work, I'm at the gym. And I'm shooting in the gym, and I'm really shooting in the gym now that I'm, got my foot in the door over there with those guys. I hoping I get what I want, man. I really want to fight Lyoto Machida, but he ain't gonna do it. And then fight the gentleman that everybody sent me that day. He called me out, which I really appreciate. I really enjoyed that little talk he gave, Luke Trainer. Uh Big respect for him, man. I can't wait to knock with him, you know?
Yeah, I think I don't know if you saw. I posted a reel on my on the page, and I was so inspired by what he said. Like, um, like you watch a lot of fighters where you got some fighters that might be a little bit about media. They're a little bit like they're a little weary about it, and then you got this guy that comes out here. He's like, I just need like 2 minutes, and he just goes on about like inspiring, and I think a lot of people. Um, Need to like really read into that kind of stuff and just listen to what fighters have to say. Like they know what's going on, they know what's up.
Yeah. And you know, I feel like Bellator does a better job with fighter relations, and
Mm-hmm.
they get a bad rap for it, but it's not really anything compared to what they say about the UFC. They say it's pretty bad over there. So I don't know, man. Like my good friend Luis Pena just got arrested again, and the UFC cut him. But Jones is out here. What does he got to do to get cut? And I'm not trying to defend Luis either. I've known him his whole career. He's a friend of mine, but you can't do this shit, man. I actually just talked to him not long ago after he got in trouble the first time. He has always been super supportive of me, so I'm always gonna be super supportive of him. I hope he gets his shit together and straightens his life out. But it at the same time, like I can be mad at him for that and getting cut, but I can also be mad. Like I can understand that he refused their help and they could cut him. Like that's grounds to do that. But I mean, Johnny Bones literally refuses everything and only does things his way. And I was watching the MMA Hour today, and Mike Winklejohn said he can't come back to Jackson's, and this guy is going to get on face or whatever he tweeted it, I guess, and say that oh he can't believe he lost such a supporter, but he's thankful for everybody else that stuck with him. And it's like, bro, at some point they've got to draw the line. Like he said, he teaches women self-defense. He's got 2 or 3 daughters. I've got a daughter. That is like one thing I absolutely cannot condone is domestic violence of any kind. Like if you're a grown man and you're whooping a woman, regardless of what they say about like equality or anything, like you cannot tell me that if I started fighting Paige Van Zandt or anybody, it's not even close. Like I could breathe on my girlfriend and she would be like a tumbleweed. So I ain't condoning it either, not for anybody, but the fighter relationships with the brass, I feel like Bellator comes on like a more personal level when they try to connect to you, whereas the UFC, it's all business. And I think Bob Ross was probably making too much money to be not bringing enough money in, so they just go 2 for 1, get rid of him,
Yeah,
double kill.
I think that there's a lot more to than people see, and with Jon Jones, I think in you know, like, I mean, Jon Jones, I mean, credential wise, I mean, you see what he's done for the sport, what he's done for the UFC, but you kind of have to look at it and think, okay, well, if you get rid of Luis Pena, who, I mean, I like watching him fight. It was great, but after what I heard, you know, I was not down with that. I'm like thinking like, okay, yeah, no, you got to toss him, but what about Jon Jones? This guy's not. This isn't like Jon Jones just randomly had an incident where you don't know the full story. No, had a track of things going on, and you got to think. You got to look at the UFC. Think like, where are your morals? Are you going to support someone that not just had problems, but that's shown that he's had domestic violence and he's obviously assaulted his girlfriend, wife, whatever. And what does that show for the UFC? That you guys are just okay with that? I mean, you know, you got to think like after what Connor did with the dolly, you thought after that bullshit that was gonna be it, but
He
it's
kept going.
and he just
I
kept.
don't know, and I don't know how much career earnings Jon Jones has made. I don't know that he's made enough money to like comfortably retire and his kids be set and the whole 9 yards like that. I don't know if he's quite there, because he lost so much, he's been fined so much, he's probably paid no telling in legal fees. Um, we're talking about a guy at one point that had a Nike and Gatorade sponsorship. Let me tell you some other athletes sponsored by Nike and Gatorade at one point. LeBron James, Tiger Woods, Kobe Bryant. I mean, we're talking about biggest names in sports, and this guy runs it down mid on all of that stuff. I can't even remember this. It's bad when you can't remember what he did at that exact time to lose those sponsorships. I don't remember if it was the the drunk driving thing or or any of that stuff that he's did where he hit and run, the cocaine, the steroids. I don't remember. It was one of those, but it's just, it's not even, I'm not out against Jon that much either. Like at the same time as I say, oh, well, he's domestically abusing his wife. Like I wasn't there, so I don't really know what happened. It's pretty obvious what happened. Um, it's none of my business, but at the end of the day, like if you guys are going to cut Bob and you're like not even ever going to do anything to Jon, who does all this stuff, I just like, where are we going to draw the line with these guys and let them know that they're just athletes, just like me? They just, he's beat more people and he's done more for the sport or whatever. He's the best, whatever you want to say. It's just like, to me, at some point, regardless of how good they are, how much money they make, we've got to draw the line. And even McGregor, he's done some bad stuff. Like, he hasn't done that much in comparison. Like the dolly thing, honestly, he probably did not realize the dolly would injure anybody. He probably didn't think he could even throw it that far, to be honest. But the punch of the old man thing. There's a lot of a lot of convos to be had about it. I guess most fighters are head cases though, so they do crazy stuff like that, and then a whole nother like us with like relating on the personal level. Then you got guys like bare knuckle fighting championship out here who are just bringing in inexperienced people to lose. And then like I got a guy that has fought bare knuckle and fought for them. They beat him out of a couple $100 on ticket sales, and then like they blackball him and won't bring him back because he exposed them for beating him out of $400. I'd be pissed off too if somebody beat me out of $400. $400 is a lot of money around here. That you were talking about a car payment or a house note almost. Um, it's sad. But then they'll bring in uh like Melvin Gillard, former 155 fighter, fighting Joe Riggs at 205. And
Yeah.
now he's super, and his whole face is fucked. Who wanted to see that? Nobody. I didn't watch it. I just read about it. You know what I mean? There's got to be some kind of, who knows? Maybe we need like a MMA version of the Ali Act or something like that, and really put these regional promotions and even the major ones in check. And that goes for the fighters too. Like you can't be out here acting like Jon Jones and any of those guys are. You give them the blade, man. Get them out of here. Don't take their platform away. They got nothing to be famous with.
Yeah, and I think that there has to be something where it's one thing when you have a fighter that clearly has some things going on with them, whether it's mental health. That's understandable, and that's where you have any job that you have. You usually have a union. The union will work with you and say, okay, if you're an alcoholic, what can we do to help you with those things so you can stay sober when you're on the job? Or if you got these things. But when you got someone like Jon Jones that's had so many of these things, it opens up the question: how many more times does he have to have these problems come until you finally say people are like saying like, are you can't take the UFC seriously? Like, oh, so he just gets away. He doesn't he doesn't truly learn anything other than, well, I kind of feel bad that happened. Well, no, like sometimes you have to have things happen to you, realize
Or,
what you lost.
God forbid, but how long till it's too late? How long till we got and now he wasn't under contract or anything, but how long till we got like a war machine situation on our hands, or something like that? I don't know, you may or may not know who he is.
I know.
Okay, so like, you know what I mean? Like, it just, something's got to be done. I told a few weeks ago, actually right before Justin Thornton passed away from that bare knuckle match. I was at a regional show and I saw some guys backstage and some amateurs, and they come in there and they start talking to my team, and I just kind of walk off and let them talk to them so they can see what I'm talking about. These guys are bringing in, and I'm not going to list this, sometimes nobody makes them do it at the end of the day, but when you're bringing in guys with single digit IQ to fight on these shows and they just show up to lose, like, there's nothing that really makes me more angry than that. Like, so I have to, I brought or talked to several promoters at one time and said, hey, coaches too, no more, no more fights with independent fighter crackheads. Like, I'm sick of it. A guy backstage at a boxing show, what is it? The weekend of the September 20 something, last weekend of September, they had a boxing match. The guy I used to train with, named Grady Hurley, gets this guy a boxing match he wanted. He's an independent guy, and he fought a really good boxer who was only 1-0. It's amateur boxing, headgear, boxing gloves, the whole 9 yards. Well, he gets worked by the guy, the independent guy that Grady got the fight. Well, after the fight, he gets worked, and he's mad that the guy styled on him and embarrassed him. He's shaking hands with Grady, who coached him. And while he's got his hand with one hand, he sucker punches him with the other hand and says, "You set me up, motherfucker." He started a fight with the entire backstage, to the point they got so hemmed up in the back of the Lyric Theater. It's a small venue. He bit the guy that I was talking about earlier that runs the Brawlers Den. He bit this guy on his neck like Iron Mike Tyson bit Evander Holyfield. I mean, he took like almost a piece of his neck out. It could have, he could have, he could have gave him a disease. I could go on and on about what could have happened. Needless to say, they beat him up, and I think the police even arrested the guy. But that happened, and then I have these independent guys in Memphis that are tapping the strikes in the first 30 seconds and stuff like that. I just am like, can we stop doing this? Can we like only get experienced guys, encourage independent fighters? And I'm not saying, as an amateur, every once in a while you got to have that journeyman that'll show up on 30 minutes notice. And hats off to them. As long as they try to win, you'll never hear me badmouth them. And I know a lot of fought some of those independent fighters because nobody else would fight me. And these guys show up, give me a run for my money, or try to anyway. These guys wasn't fixing to lay down until you made them. And now people do it. I guess they just want to be cool and fight MMA. But back when we were probably getting involved, people thought you were weird if you did it. So it is kind of a refreshing blooming flower to see come through there that people are finally actually starting to take interest. Like, I don't know, but no more crackheads if I can help it. I'll shut all of those down in my half of the state. I guarantee.
Excellent. Now, I do want to kind of get back to you here. Obviously, you got to beat the number 9 or number 8 ranked fighter. I know you kind of threw a couple names up there, like Luke Trainer. Is that still kind of a guy that's on your radar, or is there another guy in that division? Or
Soon as he opened his mouth, he was on the radar. I actually watched his fight and then cut it off because I had to go somewhere. And I'm on the road leaving my house, literally pulling out of the driveway, and people are calling me and messaging me off the hook because I really didn't expect him to do all that. But no, man, I want a for real fight though, man. I want to fight like a Machida, Nemkov, any of. I mean, obviously they're not going to let me fight Nemkov, but
yeah, I think
I want to fight a former champion or somebody tough and like. I'm not trying to get on my soapbox here, but dude, I've been through so much doing this for 10 years that like I really don't care about anything else. Like I'll fight whoever, but it would mean a lot to me and make my life be like it's already almost as full as it is. The only thing left for me to do is fight on Japan on New Year's Eve and win a world championship. And if it ain't gonna be anything remotely close to those two things, it needs to be most most numbers with a comma to the left or right side. So I'm waiting to hear. Like I said, I'll fight whoever, but I want to fight something meaningful. Like I want it to excite me, and it does excite me to to fight with a guy like Trainer. He's 5-0 or 6-0 now. Big Doss. He's a Dosser for sure too, and I hope he watches this and he knows what that is because he's a Dosser. I feel like he should fight one more, and I should fight Machida, and then let me fight him. And I feel like they should take Grant Neal and Alex Polizzi out of the top 10 because they're boring. Like I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight those guys. The only thing that comes from me fighting Alex Polizzi or Grant Neal is I'm either gonna knock them out or submit them because they're gonna keep trying to take me down for 15 minutes, or they're gonna lay on me for the 15 minutes. I'm gonna split them open as wide as I can the entire time from bell to bell. I don't think either one of them could beat me, but like at the end of the day, I don't like having to worry about like if a guy is going to beat me, he's literally going to have to hold me down for points for 15 minutes, which is 100% what they would try to do. And I want somebody who's going to like fight me for real.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Now let's kind of talk about the top 10, the top 10 Ben T-shirts. You had a post on your Instagram, so let's talk about a little bit about that. Like, who made those for you, and where can you find them?
I'm actually sponsored. I was one of the first fighters. Me, Bryce Mitchell, Hannah Guy, Jaleel Willis, a few others were some of the first people to come on this merchandise and promotion app or website called millions.co, not .com, .co. And my profile is in my Instagram bio. You can just click on it. It'll take you straight there. And yeah, the top 10 Ben shirts, those guys came up with that right after I knocked that guy out. And then they didn't put me in the top 10. So it's now a forever collector's item.
And
I feel like after this weekend though, they'll rework the rankings. And who knows? Like I said, I feel like after this weekend, they're liable to do exactly as I said and take Polizzi and Grant Neal out, put me and Luke Trainer in, maybe even take Melvin Manhove out. I'm not sure, Life's different in Europe right now. So who knows what's going on with that. You never know. Manhove could up and go back to Glory Kickboxing with Gokhan Saki going back. I mean, anything's possible. I don't know. I'd be down to fight Manhoof too. I actually, yesterday was my MMA debut 10 years ago. And I actually quoted Melvin Manhoof in the post on Facebook where he said in a pre-fight interview, "I'm prepared to die in the ring, so it doesn't matter what's going to happen." And then he proceeded to absolutely destroy whoever that was. But and now I live in a world where I could even be fighting Melvin Manhoff. How crazy is that?
Nuts, man.
It's crazy. I
Um,
do it too.
Now, before I let you go, I just wanted to ask you what's your message to the Bellator Light Heavyweight division?
Uh, hey, keep it G when you see me, because let me tell you what I think about the Bellator Light Heavyweight division. I listened to Corey Anderson today on the MMA Hour. Automatically, I'm a big fan. I've always kind of liked him, but like after listening to him today, I was even more of a fan. Didn't realize he was a down to earth country boy like me. And he said, "Man, I told Bader like after we fight, let's come on." He said after we fight, let's go on a hunting trip or whatever. And I'm the same way, man. Like we're gonna get in there and fight at the end of the day. Ain't no point in being mad about it. But if you make it, if you make it something like that with me, I'll give it to you, buddy. And I'm trying to turn over a new leaf and get out of my quote unquote mob ties. I try not to really be too hard on him anymore. But for the longest, man, I was talking trash and backing it up, and I can definitely start back. I actually just grew out of it, man, because I grew up in the sport. I stopped being a punk, started being it when I became a dad. I really just kind of like mellowed out a lot. But like right now, if single 18-year-old Ben Parrish was on this phone with you right now, I would still be cutting a promo on somebody because I would be laying into him. And I would probably right now, that's the thing. It's hard for me to go in on a guy like Lyoto Machida. What am I going to say bad about him? Other than, I don't think he'll fight me because it's a lose-lose situation on paper for him. The only thing he gets out of that is getting paid. He would look at it like, well, if I beat him, it doesn't do anything for me. And if I lose to him, that just, nail in the coffin to lose to a guy like him. When in reality, like, and they'll never believe me, Luke, but I'm that good. And I just can't wait to flex that. That in itself, like knocking out Trainer, knocking out Manhoof, knocking out Polizzi and Grant Neal at the same time, trying to go for a double leg. You ever seen Training Day?
Yeah, I think I've seen it. It was a while back, but yeah.
Denzel Washington, he shoots at his partner and he says, "How you want it, dog? You know I'm surgical with this bitch. How you want it?" That's how I feel about the division. If you sign to fight me, you better get ready because I'm finna bring it to you.
Excellent. Well, we're excited to see you come back. And again, Ben, I appreciate you taking the time to come on here and let me interview. And we'll talk again soon. All right.
Yes, sir. Hopefully I have some good news soon, man. Appreciate you having me on, man.
All right. You take care, man.
You too, buddy. Have a great day.